is you. And then what? Hi, my name is Chris of Just Chris Consult. I welcome you to my channel today. By God's grace, I have my master's in biotechnology from the University of Texas in the United States of America, and then currently I'm a PhD student at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. So today, I want to take you through how to prepare a CV or a resume for an academic application. So most of the time I receive comments like, Chris, I have seen a lot of people posting templates of CV online, but whenever I sit down to prepare mine, I am not able to go through it. So today I want to take the time to take you through how to prepare an academic CV. So the first thing you need to actually take note of is that the CV is a representative of you. So it's representing you to the admission committee. So the first thing is you need to talk about your background. So you need to let them know your name, and the most important thing is your email address. So you need to have a working email address, an email address that is active. So, and then plus your address and then your telephone number. So you need to state that. Now, from there, because you are using it for an academic purpose, you go straight to talk about your educational background. So if you're an SS student, you talk about your SS background, where you have your WASI, and then so you show that, okay, I did my WASI I attended this school, I wrote WASI, and then you tell the year from this year to that year. If it is bachelor's degree, if it is master's, you state the qualification, the certificate you have, and then where you got it, and then the year span, right? So from there, since you are applying to a school, it's an academic institution, so you need to be very strategic about the things you mention. So the next part is that you talk about your research experiences. So if you have had any research experience, if your undergraduate program does not involve any research experience, and it involves maybe a teaching experience where you were posted to places to go and teach, you talk about your teaching experience. So various places where you've done various teaching or various research, you state them, and then who was your supervisor. It is also very, very important. You need to talk about that. So most of the time it is crafted like the title you hold, where you were doing it, probably who you were working under, and then maybe if it is a project as an academic work, you state where the academic work was done, right? The work was about. So if it's about teaching, where you went to community to teach secondary school or to teach universities or to teach primary schools, you talk about it. If it is about a thesis project, you tell us about the thesis project and then the time span you used in doing that. Yeah, so you state all of those things. Now you come to talk about your technical skills. So the technical skills, most of the time, if you're a research student, you talk about your research experiences or some of the techniques you have. If it is about teaching, I know the teaching field also have theirs. The nursing field, you also have yours. If it's medical school, you have your techniques that you learn from these schools. So you state all the techniques that you have, including your IT knowledge. You need to also talk about your personal skills. You need to be able to state some of your personal skills. So all these things are related to your academic background. So everything we are talking about here is about your academics. Now, after that, you move on to talk about if you have received any award, if you have received any grant, if you have received any honor, you talk about it. Okay, so where did you get it? What was it about? Maybe you received a scholarship in your school, maybe in your final year, or maybe there was an award you were given. You were a best graduating student, you were a second best graduating student, you held a particular award was given to you, or you received some grants, some money as a form of your academic performance. You need to talk about all those things. When you got it, what was the title of that award, or the title of the honor, or the grant that you received. So you need to talk about that. Then you come to your if you have any current research that is going on, you have any current project you are doing, you can state that, right? You need to talk about that. And then also, if you have been to any presentation, if you have any publication, if you have any conferences you have attended, these are very, very vital. You have any publication, you talk about your publications. So maybe I have a publication which was published in this year, you state it, and then you state the link that will lead them to that publication for them to go check it out, right? If you don't have a publication, that is fine. You might have attended certain presentations where you went to give oral presentation, we went to give maybe a poster presentation. You state all of them. If you have not done any of that, probably you have attended certain conferences, right? So you talk about the various conferences you have attended, and then you make them aware that, okay, I attended a conference during this time. They spoke about this. I learned that. So you talk about the various things you have learned during the conference, right? So it should either be a publication, or it should be a conference you attended, or a presentation you did at a conference, right? Now, we're still within an academic institution. We are working towards an academic admission. So the next part is, have you been part of any university affiliated committee? Have you been on any committee in your school? Whether you were a member, you served as a member, whether you served as an executive member, you held a position as president, you need to explain all these things. What was the time? What was the committee about? What are the things you did? What was the committee doing, right? You need to talk. And then if you held a role, what was your role in that committee, right? Now, you come down to, if you have any teaching experience. I know some of you are from teaching field. So if you are from a teaching field, you have already captured it. But if you are not from a teaching field and you are from a research field like me, you have done teaching as part of your exposure or experience, you can talk about that. Okay, I taught here from this year to this year. I was this kind of teacher. Maybe I was teaching math, I was teaching social studies. And then what were your duties, right? And then the time range, right? So you need to talk about that. And if you have worked in certain companies, those are professional experiences. If you want to capture that, you can capture that also. And it's very important that they know that at least you have been out there. You are not just within the academic field, you have been out there to do professional work, right? So you capture that, and then you tell us about how, when you did it, what was your position, what was your role, and then the company where you did those work, right? Now, before you come to this part, I always tell people that if you have volunteered in any work, if you have been a volunteer in any work, so you can see from here, it talks about the person's publication. So you see there's a journal publication, there is a preprint, there is another one which is a publication that is out there. So you can state all these things, right? And then it's very important, right? If you have had any professional training, if you have had any professional training anywhere where you were given certification, you can talk about all those things. So you've received maybe, especially the science student, you've received maybe a BSL2 or a BSL3 certification to work there. You need to talk about all those certifications, right? Then community service, as I was saying. So if you have done any community service, any volunteering activity, you can state where you did it, the date you did it, and what the whole concept was about that you volunteered, right? So you talk about all these things. And then if you have any language you want to state, I mostly do not go in a lot when it comes to my language aspect, but you don't know where you need it. Maybe in terms of your English, you can talk about your proficiency, as in how well you speak it, how well you write it, how well you read it, right? They are also very important. Then the last part I will talk about is your leadership role. Have you held any leadership position? You can state them, where you held those positions and the time you held those positions. Some people will advise you that you can put your references, but I mostly don't put references on my CV or my resume. The reason being that when I'm applying for a school, the school would request me to add my recommenders. So if I could get to that position, I can add my recommenders, and then I can take it up from there. So when you're preparing a CV for an academic work, you can follow this format, and you can contact me if you need any assistance, then we can help you. Thank you.